But we're here to talk football, and I know Scott Flory could talk some 90s sports too as well, but his mind is on the Bisons and the Hardy Cup, and we meet again, Coach. Here it is, the next step on the ladder. How are the boys feeling in advance of the Hardy Cup tomorrow on your turf?
Yeah, hey, Rod. No, the boys are feeling good. I think, we've had a good week of prep here. Had a little bit of snow there early in the university, just looking out over the field here. The university's been working their butts off here all week and clearing it off, and it looks great and can't wait for tomorrow.
Well, it's wild because I went to that Rams Huskies game up there, and it was a slow-moving game. The elements weren't great. It seems like you've been playing bad weather games all season. Like you guys wouldn't even know what it's like to play in good weather, which I guess is a good thing.
We've had a couple clear games, but yeah, it feels like there's a little bit been wind. It's been cold. It's been, we haven't had a snow fest like I guess University of Manitoba and Alberta had last week, but our practices, this has been an amazing fall for us practicing and everything. So, hey man, that's just what it is. You got to play the elements and we both got to play in it. So we're looking forward to tomorrow. Well,
there's absolutely no doubt. But you mentioned the wind. I mean, that game against the Rams held the lead for most of the first half. That seems so long ago to you. You would remember the game, but you're looking forward, not back. But my point is for tomorrow, I looked up mostly cloudy and -1. I don't know what the wind situation is like. Are you the guy that would be calling the airport for the weather like Kenny Miller or Don Matthews? Or how are you leading up to kickoff on the weather conditions?
It's one of those things where you take a look early in the week and you just try to, okay, what are we going to be, long-term kind of looking at? Because it does adjust a little bit of some of the things offensively and defensively that we got to prepare for, make sure that our guys are prepared and ready for it. For me and for us, we just want a clean, fast track, right? That's what we want. We don't want to have to play in heavy snow or rain or wind, but we'll do it and we'll adjust accordingly. So we take that long-term look and then kind of set that plan in place with preparations for being able to adjust later in the week. But the early predictions were it's actually been getting better and better throughout the week here. So yeah, I mean, the wind, I mean, you go back to that Regina game, I think we had 4 turnovers or something and still ended up, winning the game. It was one of those things where we don't want to deal or play in those. Sometimes, teams do. We will, but it's not something that we actually want to play in. We want a nice, clean surface, and because I think that really shows the skill and of the teams, and to me, it's just a cleaner, better game.
Well, in that last interview that you and I did, and what was that, a month ago, you mentioned turnovers, and you said not to be hung up on them, that in hockey they turn over the puck every play. I was listening, Scott. So how do you preach ball security, and how are you on the turnover thing in a football game? Clearly your team doesn't get rattled by them. Well, you don't want to do it.
No, we don't. And we want as few turnovers as possible. I think that, reference back to that Regina game, I mean, you got winds gusting up to 50, 60K an hour. That's pretty fast. So we work it every day, one day, two. We're always preaching it. We're always talking about it. On the defensive side, it's more strip it, rip it, club it, get that ball out. And, on the offensive side is how do we protect it? Because, I mean, if you boil it down, football is a game of keep away. It really is. So we gotta keep it and keep moving forward. And the defense wants to get it and stop them from moving forward. So, when you boil it down, it gets pretty simple. But there's a lot of technique and then there's a lot of nuance to it.
You are coming out of a 6-game regular season, beat UBC in the semifinal last week. What was your history with the Bisons this year and over the past couple of years?
Yeah, no, we got a ton of respect from them, and I think there's a lot more similarities than differences when you look at teams. Sometimes there's, they run a completely different structure or anything like that. I think both of our teams are fairly similar. I got a ton of respect for Coach Doby and how he runs his program. He's been there 20 some years or 25 years, something like that. We had him actually out for a non-conference game here early in September. And that was good. I mean, it was one of those where, you're not going to gauge anything from that. We played our starters, I think, for the first quarter, and then wanted to get everybody through, hadn't played football in a year and a half, so there's a lot of factors there that we wanted to get in. And then we were out there, I think week 5 in our one regular season game was out there in Manitoba, and we won that game. It was tight. It really was. They're a good team, and we ended up, cracking some stuff late here in that game. But, they deserve to be in this game. I think we deserve to be in this game, and it's going to be a really good football game tomorrow.
So the two best teams. Just a couple last questions. Your list of all-stars headed up by your quarterback, Mason Nias. He's old Mace. You always know where you're going to get out of him. He always delivers. Can you just talk about your crop of all-stars that you had in the season they had?
Yeah, no, those guys, man, I'm just so happy and so proud for them, right? Like to get that recognition. They understand, though, like the one thing is I always preface this, like this doesn't guarantee us anything tomorrow. Like we've got all-stars, you got all this kind of stuff. You still got to play the game, and it's a team game. Now, the better the teams, generally the better the players, right? Obviously, but it's one of those things where we know that we've got to show up, and you can prove them right or you can prove them wrong. And just looking at from our quarterback and our offensive side of things, and and all on the defensive side with the line of scrimmage and our linebackers. So we got a ton of guys I think that are worthy. If they're always recognized, that's nice to get that recognition. But each and every one of those guys would give it up in a hiccup for a chance to win tomorrow, and then also a chance to play towards that Vanier Cup. We just want to keep inching forward.
And just a fun one from Northside YEG, a viewer watching on YouTube, says Scott Flory is on the pink drink, I would think. It's the probiotic drink that I've lost 45 pounds. Yeah, I don't know if you've heard of pink drink. I'm on it. I lost 45. You probably did it the hard way by working out and diet. I want to ask you how much you've lost, Scott, but people probably talk to you every day. What's your secret?
No, I don't think there is a secret. I just realized, it was a couple years after playing where I'm like, okay, I'm not an offensive lineman anymore. I don't need to be carrying weight. It's just, man, keep working out, but work out a little bit differently. I'm not doing, I remember the last time I racked 225 on the bench. I'm like, I'm done with this. I don't need to do this anymore. So you work out differently, man. It's just, it's in and out. So you consume less and expend more. So just eat better and work out.
You will love this. Andrew Green is sitting 25 feet from me. He can't hear what you're saying. So he's like, what do you say? What do you say? What do you say?
Drew looks good, man.
Well, rush the show, baby.
Look at this.
Man, and you just feel better. Especially as the big guys. They used to call it occupational hazard to be an offensive lineman, right? Because you have to carry 300 pounds to be able to do your job. And I did it for a long time. And then, sometimes those habits stick with you for a little bit. And then, at some point you gotta cut ties and sever the cord there and get back to being somewhat normal anyway.
For sure. Everything's great. Scott, good luck tomorrow. We'll be watching. I appreciate all the time.
Man, thanks, Rod. Appreciate everything you do. And I hope people get a chance to tune in and or come out there tomorrow. Yeah. Saskatoon. It's going to be a really good football game.
Thanks, Coach. Purchase your tickets ahead of time from the Huskies ticket office, which is open now down at Griffith Stadium. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching the RP Show on YouTube. And don't forget, we're live daily on YouTube from noon to 2 Eastern. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. And if you like the program, check around for other segments of the Rod Pedersen Show here on YouTube.